Hello, this is the last take I'm going to make because I have to go to work in actually 12, probably 15 minutes. So I'm going to make this really short. I noticed I've been really reading, or I've I have experienced the views of the moral axiom against commercialism. Um, commer- Immoral commercialism, I call it. And I was introduced to this view superficially in the progressive rock genre. Many fans of the progressive rock genre tend to view popular music. In the 70s, the commercial music was disco. Now it's just top 40. I guess you could say in both cases it's top 40. But they have this view of commercial music as being shallow, being soulless, and in many ways lacking integrity. To understand this mindset, if you listen to Rush, the 1980 single from Rush, "Spirit of the Radio," that gives you some understanding of this mindset. Okay. Now, there's a big flaw in this mindset, I believe. I believe that this mindset makes the presumption that if something is popular within the musical domain, it must, or we should, it doesn't say it must be shallow, but we must be wary of its musical integrity, that the person who created this popular song, a top 40 song, violated a moral tenet of artistry, musical artistry. Now, again, this moral tenet is not set in stone. It's just agreed upon by certain individuals, and the moral tenet is this: that this person has erroneously created a song in order to appeal to the masses, as opposed to creating a song that appeals to their own senses. Okay. So in this essence, they're allowing the masses to dictate how a song should be created. Okay. Now I do want to make this link. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this popular commercialism is that this moral tenet is not only in music. This moral tenet also is in aspects of sexual, quote-unquote, commercialism. Some people oppose commercialized sexuality based upon its ontology. Okay, they say they oppose commercialized sexuality, and people say they oppose commercialized music, but technically commercialized music is music that is sold for profit. The people in both camps, the music progressive rock genre, even the punk genre, somewhat in the rap genre, but not as strongly, and the people in the anti-sexual commercial, in the commercial sex genre, and they're misusing the term. They are not saying that they don't oppose sex for profit per se. They're afraid that commercialism will destroy individuality. And now when we look at it through the sexual or romantic realm, we use a specific example. Let's say, for example, sex appeal, feminine sex appeal. There's one guy that's he calls himself a feminist, and he is a feminist, and he makes the distinction between industrial porn, which is commercial porn, and his type of porn, which is porn that includes every body type. In both cases, they're sold for profit, but his moral objection is that industrialized porn or industrialized sex appeal is too narrow, and it will destroy, it threatens the self-esteem of many women because it's a singular, thin, big breast, it's far too narrow. Okay, so if you translate over to popular music, or with the progressive rock musicians and punk musicians, their opposition to commercial music is basically the same theme. That commercial music is very narrow. It doesn't have a uniqueness, and this is generally indicated by a super massive appeal. Okay. So again, now in both camps they're making presuppositions. That both camps are making presuppositions of what presupposition of what is going to be unideal in music. The first presupposition is that if it's too popular or it has excessive popularity, it must be a clone, or be in a genre that is very much cloned and does not have individuality. I think those are dangerous presuppositions. Because, see, I'm in a different camp because I listen to progressive rock all the way to top 40. I mean, the music that I listen to, if the music that I listen to, if I shared it with a hardcore progressive rock guy who has this type of mentality, he would understand why I listen to this type of music. Okay, he thinks it's shallow, this is stupid, how can you listen to this thing? Okay, the same thing with erotica, that what is called pop erotica or pop sex appeal, okay, if I shared it with somebody that that has a art that is, or erotic art that is not quote unquote in the mainstream, and I said I was a fan of this type of genre, that alternative genre, he would look at me strange. That, don't you see that we have more depth and more meaning than this shallow erotica made by commercialism? Both of these camps would look at me very strange. I guess I don't buy into those presuppositions. I mean, there is some type of truth to what they're saying, but to make it a moral claim, I think it's very dangerous. And since it's almost time for me to work, I'll make another video in elaborating on this a little bit more. All right, thanks a lot.